Hey guys, this is Subhash Mishra, your test coach. Today we'll learn about constructors in Java. A constructor is a special method that is used to initialize an object. Every class has a constructor, either implicitly or explicitly. If we don't declare a constructor in the class, then JVM builds a default constructor for that class. That is known as default constructor. A constructor has same name as the class name in which it is declared. Constructor must have no explicit return type. Constructor in Java cannot be abstract, static, final or synchronized. These modifiers are not allowed for constructor. Class name is the name of class as constructor name is same as class name. Parameter list is optional because constructors can be parameterized and non-parameterized as well. We'll see all these things in the examples. There are two types of constructors: default constructor and parameterized constructor. Each time a new object is created, at least one constructor will be invoked. What is default constructor? A constructor is called default constructor when it doesn't have any parameter. And what is the purpose of default constructor? The default constructor is used to provide the default values to the object like 0, null, etc. Depending on the type. So let's see with an example. We'll go to our previous example where we have seen the car class. Here we'll try to create a default constructor. So I have told the constructor name is same as class name. So class name is car here. So I am creating a constructor with the same name, and here what we'll try to do, we'll do a sysout and we'll tell this is our default constructor. Let me put default constructor is called, and how we'll know the default constructor values. So what we'll do, let's print something like that. So here we are seeing the model, right? Let's print uh, model value is, and similarly this is the string, and for integer year, right? So year value is plus year. So let me create one more class, new class. We'll name it as constructor demo. First we'll create one object of the car class, car Honda equal to new car, right? Then what we'll do here, we'll see whether the default constructor is getting called or not. Let's execute it. See, the default constructor details got called, whatever we are running here, right? Default constructor is called, okay. Model value is null, okay, and year value is 0. The string value is null and integer value is 0. So let me give a space here, and if you still want to know if this is what is getting executed, let's run it again. See, default constructor is called, model value is 0 and year value is 0. So we understood this is our default constructor. Now let's see what is parameterized constructor. A constructor which has a specific number of parameters is called a parameterized constructor. And why we need parameterized constructor? The parameterized constructor is used to provide different values to distinct objects. However, you can provide the same values also. So let's see with an example. Again, the parameterized constructor name remains same, only we'll have few arguments. Okay, what will pass here? We'll pass string model, and let us pass also year. integer year. Okay, and what we need to do for that, this dot model equal to model, similarly this dot year equal to year. Okay, now what we'll do, we'll try to print those values similarly how we have done for default constructor. Here also we'll do the same, and here we'll write parameterized constructor. Okay, now let's execute it. So already we have created Honda, right? Let me create a new object. We'll name it as Maruti equal to new car class, right? So here if you'll see, this car class is the default constructor, but we want parameterized constructor. For parameterized constructor, what do we want? We want to pass arguments as string model and integer year. So here what we'll pass as, we'll pass one string as Baleno and year as 2020. Also we can create one more object. For example, we'll give name as Mahindra, and here we'll give as XUV, and for example it is 2019. And now let's execute it. So what result we got? Default constructor is called, then parameterized constructor is called, model value is Baleno and year value is 2020, and similarly parameterized constructor called for XUV and 2019. So this is how we are getting the result. So the advantage of parameterized constructor here is we can use it to provide different values to distant objects. So here we created two objects and we gave distant values. You can also provide the same value. So this is one advantage of parameterized constructor. Now we'll learn about constructor overloading. Like methods, a constructor can also be overloaded. Overloaded constructors are differentiated on the basis of their type of parameters or number of parameters. Constructor overloading is not much different than method overloading. In case of method overloading, you have multiple methods with same name but different signature, whereas in constructor overloading, you have multiple constructor with different signature, but only difference is that constructor doesn't have return type. We will learn about method overloading in our future videos. Let's understand constructor overloading here. So let's see with an example. Here you have seen already we have one parameterized constructor. We'll create one more parameterized constructor, but the number of arguments will be different here. So you are seeing the error, right? So let's see what it is telling. Duplicate method, right? So what will pass here, we have here string model, string color. For example, we'll pass it as argument also, string color. So in the second parameterized constructor, we'll use string color. Okay, and we will name it as parameterized constructor 1 and we will name it as parameterized constructor 2. Okay, and similarly we'll print the color here. Color is color. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to use this, right? So here what we'll do, we'll keep these same things, and to call, okay, I have missed this color, that's why it was showing error. What we'll do here is we will put for Mahindra, we will call this constructor, right? So what we'll do here, we'll pass one more string. For example, the color is red. Okay, let me execute now. Now you can understand, right? This is default constructor which is getting called by this one for Honda. Then we have first parameterized constructor. So this is the result of that parameterized constructor, and we have two arguments here, right? We have two values, model value and year value, but here in case of this we have three things, three arguments: model, color and year. So here you can see we have the constructor name remains same, but the signatures or the arguments are different. So this is what is called constructor overloading. Okay, we will move to the next topic, which is known as constructor chaining. What is constructor chaining? It is a process of calling one constructor from another constructor in the same class. Since constructor can only be called from another constructor, constructor chaining is used for this purpose. To call constructor from another constructor, this keyword is used. This keyword is used to refer current object. So let's see how we can use this keyword and we can perform the constructor chaining, right? So here you have seen this is our default constructor. So what we are telling in our constructor chaining, we are telling it is a process of calling one constructor from another constructor, right? So let's call this parameterized constructor from this default constructor. So how you will call that? You will use this keyword. So you can write something like this. Then what you can do, you just pass the arguments, right? So here for example this Honda City, then what you pass here is the year 2020, comma. Okay, now let's execute it. So for now what I'll do, I'll just comment out these two things so you will not get confused. Let me execute it. So here what you can see, parameterized constructor 1 is called. Okay, in the first one parameterized constructor is called, right? So this because of this these things got called. Then we got the value of model value and year, model value and year. Then again this default constructor is called and all these things you got the value. So just to confirm, let me comment out this thing and let's see what is the response. Run as. See, you are getting only these things, but if you have these values, you can see it is getting called for these things first, then these values. Let me execute it again and show you. See, parameterized constructor 1 is called, model value, then again default constructor is called. So this is known as constructor chaining. That's pretty much about constructors. Thank you. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. I'll try to explain it. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel.